Hello and welcome. You're watching UATV News with me, Ksenia Buhai. First, this hour, local elections in Ukraine were free and competitive. This was stated by the European Network of Election Monitoring Organizations. In total, 48 representatives of the network observed the elections. They noted that individual cases of use of the administrative resource, bribery of voters, as well as biased media would not significantly affect the result of the voting.
Regarding the rights of voters, on a positive note, NMO did assess that the new simplified measures for registration of voters were welcomed because they do, in principle, facilitate the participation of internally displaced persons, IDPs, but also economic migrants and voters without registration. Despite this positive step, however, NMO observed that overall few requests were filed and few voters took advantage of this possibility to register in the election, and also a few cases of abuse of this procedure were noted.
Trains of the state railroad company Ukrzaliznytsia will be modernized by French engineers. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky met with the representatives of Alstom. This company is among the world leaders in railroad transport manufacturing. In order to maintain the locomotive stock in Ukraine, they would create additional workplaces. The President's office emphasizes cooperation with the French company is going to stimulate the development of domestic industry, as well as provide an opportunity for Ukrainian manufacturers to enter the export markets.
In spite of the corona crisis spreading around the globe, the economies of all states should develop, especially when they have a foundation in form of joint projects. Here in Ukraine, projects aimed at added value and increase of the number of workplaces are among the top priority ones. Therefore, any infrastructure project is extremely important for Ukraine.
Ukraine reports 6,677 COVID-19 cases over the past day. Kyiv, Kharkiv, Lviv, Odesa and Chernihiv regions have the largest number of new coronavirus cases registered. Since the beginning of the pandemic, the number of infected Ukrainians has exceeded 350,000. Meanwhile, 145,000 have already recovered. The Ministry of Health plans to do 50,000 tests per day by mid-November.
When we talk about testing, we should be aware that at the beginning of the pandemic, we did only 200 tests per day. Later, we started increasing the number of tests for COVID-19. As of today, we have reached almost 40,000 tests. Taking into account our capabilities and according to the plan we are to reach 50,000 tests per day by mid-November and 75,000 tests per day by the end of the year.
A portable ventilator was developed at the Kharkiv National University of Municipal Economy. The scientists took advantage of the technology of the British, who were the first to design this device. They shared the drawings with their Ukrainian colleagues and gave them a manufacturing license. Our correspondent saw the first batch of modern ventilators.
Such a ventilator can even fit in a small backpack. This is an oxygen tank, tubes, mask and generator. The latter allows one to saturate depleted lungs with oxygen in a minute.
Здесь, в этом приборе, смешивается кислород.
This is an air-oxygen mixing device. Through the membrane, air is sucked into these pipes and supplied to the mask, creating a positive pressure during breathing. It is very productive. A person inhales at rest 10 liters per minute. The therapeutic effect comes from 40 liters per minute. This device gives more than 120 liters per minute. Such a ventilator was designed by engineers at University College London and specialists from the Formula One laboratory during the first wave of the coronavirus pandemic. It can be used both in hospitals and at home. The oxygen flow opens to the device, the pressure flow is supplied to the patient. You can see its readings. The level of oxygen that must be supplied to the patient is additionally regulated. These ventilators are used in UK hospitals. Hundreds of countries throughout the world have the equipment drawings. In Ukraine, Kharkiv University of Municipal Economy was the first to receive a license to produce an analog. As a result, we received a complete set of drawings. We eventually received complete technical documentation and advice on how to set up this production. We have developed a program for computer numerical control machines. We created flowcharts and completely worked out the logistics of where to get these materials, where to get medical steel and plastics, as well as all related materials. Kharkiv scientists say that the cost of such a compact ventilator is less than $2,500.
Если все получится.
If everything works out and we get a certificate, we can start production very quickly, because we have everything ready. As soon as the scientists receive a certificate for the production of portable ventilators, the first 10,000 devices will be delivered to Kharkiv supporting hospitals. This could happen in the nearest couple of months. Reported by Vadim Kramer, UATV News.
New emergency vehicles for road rescue teams. The State Emergency Service received 80 cars equipped with necessary life-saving tools. More on the vehicles presented and how they are going to facilitate the traffic rescue operations in the following report.
Air wedges, power saws, manual resuscitation kits. Each of the new emergency vehicles is fully equipped with these items and many others. It will help rescuers to provide first aid after a car accident efficiently and carry out search of the affected.
This is the opportunity to provide initial medical and trauma care to people affected as a result of a car accident, when the fight for life counts each second. That's why it's a matter of the utmost value that all the necessary life-saving tools are available.
Light-weighted and soft maneuvering vehicles will reach the accident spot promptly, and the crew will manage to provide instant first aid. New tablets will help develop a rescue operation on the way.
It provides tips for rescuers on how to act in case of an accident involving electric cars or cars with alternative fuels, such as gas. It shows a scheme marks places where it is admissible to saw and where the sawing would pose danger, such as seatbelt pretensioner or an airbag inflator. It also marks the place where the main battery is turned off.
The State Emergency Service has already dubbed vehicles the Rescue Angels. They will operate on the main highways of the country and on the road sections with high-risk level. By the end of the year, as part of the road safety program, 59 more vehicles will be added to 80 already provided cars. Reported by Nick Starkov, UATV News.
Alexander Lukashenko called on rectors of Belarusian universities to expel students who take part in the protests and send them to serve in the army. He accused the protesters of terrorism. A week earlier, Lukashenko replaced the rectors of 3 universities, students and teachers of which took part in mass actions. In his opinion, everyone who takes to the streets to defend their position is lawbreakers.
Студенты пришли учиться.
Students, if you come to study, then study. For those who want to study, let them do it. Whoever went out in violation of the law to unauthorized protests, he loses the right to be a student. Please send some of them, as I said, to the army and some to the street. Let them walk down the street. They must be expelled from the university. Same goes for teachers. There are also a few of them, but they behave disgustingly in universities.
A new aquatic center opened in Tokyo. Here, swimmers, divers and representatives of artistic swimming will compete for the medals of the 2021 Olympics. Our correspondent found out how the arena was opened and how many Ukrainian athletes have already won licenses for the Olympics.
The Aquatic Center was opened 7 months later than the scheduled date due to the coronavirus pandemic. The new arena, worth $523 million, can host 15,000 spectators. The first to experience the pool were Japanese swimmers and divers.
There have been some unexpected things, such as the postponement, but we need to hold these successful games. I really hope that the wonderful athletes unleash the strengths that they have built up, and I hope that the world's top swimmers can exhibit their great performance at this center.
Ukrainian swimmers have won 6 Olympic licenses. The national artistic swimming team has 2 licenses out of 12 possible, in a duo and in a group. Divers won 4 out of 12 passes to the games. They plan to win the rest at the World Cup stage in February at the new Aquatics Center.
We still have the opportunity to win licenses in individual types of programs. If you take the maximum, then these are 4 in individual types of programs and 4 in synchronous types of programs. This will be a complete set.
The Tokyo Olympics will be held next year between July the 23rd and August the 8th. The question whether spectators will be present at the games or not remains unanswered. Reported by Vadim Kramer, UATV News.
Clothes that help. This is a new label for the boxes recently installed in Odesa. People use them to deposit their clothes for charity resale in a special shop called Dobro Boutique. All the money from realization is spent to purchase medical equipment for children's clinic. Things that are not suitable for resale are recycled or donated to an animal shelter. Our correspondents visited the store. The other day we got such a dress, it might weigh over 3 kilograms.
One could think this is a regular store. Clothes and accessories are stacked on the shelves. All things here are not new, but each one has its history. At some point their owners decided to give them away, but they still can be useful to someone else.
We sell part of the clothes in the shop. All this sum obtained we spend to procure the medical equipment. This year we have already purchased the surgical light for the child brain surgery, which costs around $13,500. Our plan for this year is to make another procurement for the kids' hospital.
The project marks 7 years. In order to ease the collection of clothes, special containers have been installed in several districts of Odessa. Everyone can donate the unnecessary garb. University student Polina also brings her clothes here.
When you put an unnecessary thing in such a container, you give it a new life. If the item is in poor condition, it will run for recycling. If things that do not fit you are in good condition, they may still fit someone else.
Each item from a container is getting sorted.
We recycle clothes that cannot be reused, and we also start working with animal shelters that also need warm garments to survive the winter.
Last year, volunteers managed to raise over $30,000 thanks to the Clothes That Help project. The raised sum is spent to purchase equipment to the child medical units. Reported by Vadim Kramer, UATV News.
Elephant, yaks, bison, camels, bears and many other dwellers of the Kyiv Zoo prepare to celebrate Halloween from the 27th of October to the 1st of November. Zoo animals' lunch kits will include pumpkin dishes. UATV examined whether all the four-footed in the zoo appreciated such a menu, and what do guests think about the zoo Halloween?
At first, Silver, a forest cat, looked at the pumpkin's head with bewilderment and apprehension. However, sniffing its filling, juicy beef pieces, he gladly took the meal.
As for the nutrition, if you take only beef, he takes about half a kilogram per day. On top of that, fodder animals such as rats and mice. He looks like a domestic cat, but when starving, he behaves demanding, always hisses.
In the family of yaks, only little Mayak sparks an interest in pumpkin. Although refusing to eat the meal, he joyfully used it to play football. His dad Yasha and mom Melanka have ignored the zoo Halloween. Zoo visitors believe the holiday is not suitable for all animals.
Some of them enjoy pumpkin, you can see them there. Others that used to refuse, we can avoid feeding them with it.
Perhaps the greater meal would be the best celebration for them.
Well, the largest zoo dweller, Horus, the Indian elephant, appreciated the pumpkin a lot and even asked for more. The little visitor of the zoo, Artyom, believes the holiday should be a holiday for everyone.
Halloween is the holiday for everyone. It's not just for people, not only for children, it is also for all creatures. For animals, they carve pumpkins out and fill it with different tasty things they like to eat.
Kyiv Zoo organizes Halloween for animals for the 5th year in a row, and every year holds the traditional Watermelon Week in late August. Reported by Vadim Kramer, UATV News.
That was our final story this hour. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, more updates on our official website, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter pages.